Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I am of course back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario 64 DS for the Nintendo DS. So, last time we have managed to able to collect even more Power Stars in journey forms of, well, specifically the previous worlds ranging from Jolly Roger Bay all the way up to Dio Docks, and also we did manage to rescue Wario. So because of that though, today for this episode is the fact that we're about to be heading back onto Dio Docks, and eventually we're able to actually complete that world, and eventually we'll move on to the next world afterwards. Or, to be more specifically, we need to able to be focusing on some of these missing secret Power Stars that we haven't exactly got yet, journey forms of well, let's just say the outside portion of Princess Peach's castle, and especially noticeable with the forms of, what else? The Goon Boss battle, stage. So because of that, though, yeah, we'll be, back onto that specific, Goon Boss battle stage, once we're able to actually, like, well, let's just say, for example, if we're about to be able to 100% everything in terms of Dio Docks. And, don't worry though, whenever we get on to the next video, that, well, to be more specifically, whenever we get to that specific point, we will definitely go and get started with, the second floor as much as we can. So, yeah, anyway, in this mission, as you can see what I just did, all you have to do is basically you're gonna have to able to activate 3 treasures in the correct order. I think it's actually a little bit easier than the forms of how it does in the original game, because I'm pretty sure in the original version of the game, although I may be wrong, but basically you do need to activate 4 treasure chests as opposed to 3 in the remake. So it is definitely a little bit easier in the chests in the current mission. So because of that though, yeah, you shouldn't have that much problems with it. So mission 3, pole jumping for red coins. And since this is the red coin mission we're going to be doing with next, I'm also going to be tackling through the 100 coin Power Star mission as well. So yeah, that begs the questioning about the fact that why we're still going to be able to be stuck with Luigi for the time being. Well, it's pretty obvious because obviously with the forms of a backflip twirl kind of technique, this meaning about the fact that I can able to reach places a little bit easier and simple and self-explanatory. But, you know, you get the idea how this goes. So, yeah, today's day is, of course, I think it's today it's the 17th of March today, in this case in 2021, and specifically on Wednesday specifically, and some exciting news is about to happen in Journey Forms of Tomorrow, which I'm pretty sure that Tiana hasn't mentioned about this ever since in Pokemon Snap Let's Play so far, because basically that there's actually a new presentation coming up tomorrow, which this time around though it's going to be mainly focusing on Square Enix. So God knows we're able to actually see some of these exciting moments during the forms of the actual new announcements for Square Enix for sure. Although, I was really hoping if the next Kingdom Hearts thing on Phase 2 timeline will be able to make it happen. Or, to be more specifically, it'll just mainly focusing on other titles. Mainly with like, well, let's just say, Bolden, Wonder World, which that might be seems a little bit more. I have no idea. I can't really tell what that game's title was though. Well, despite the fact that I've recently watched the demo on that game in journey forms of several other YouTube videos earlier, before when that game is about to be releasing during next week or so, and for what I've noticed that the performance is actually a little bit more lacking, which is kind of a shame really, because it kind of feels like a similar concept as in the forms of well, let's just say in terms of the Knights kind of game, except, well, it's kind of hard to tell and it's kind of hard to say really, honestly, just because, well, then again, I haven't really played that much of ND stuff. Well, apart from Cuphead though, because Cuphead that's the only one I'm always into, just because, well, as far as I'm aware, that we still haven't heard from the DLC of it yet, which they're expecting to be hoping if they're about to be releasing at some point this year, which, if that's to be the case, then I will be really, really excited for it, despite I haven't really touched upon it yet, just because of how bull-bustingly difficult that game can be. And, I still have some good times on it though, like the visuals presentation looks spot on, And also the soundtrack is really jazzy and stuff like that. And also the gameplay is definitely fun, despite it's a little bit tad bit more difficult whenever you're trying to able to, you know, learn the level design as well as the learning of the boss patterns in particular, which I honestly, God forbid, I managed able to die quite a few times during the, in one of those boss fights on my own time when I was in the, well, when I did manage to play that during summer in 2019. But I digress. Alright, so let's go ahead and just adjust the camera for a moment and do a backflip 12, and that way you can able to make your way to this actual section with no problem. So, yeah, that seems a little bit obvious for that specific trick I like to point things out. So, yeah, let me know in the comments below about the fact that what we'd like to see in terms of the Square Enix presentation tomorrow, which, even then, I'm pretty optimistic about this, especially noticeable how the fact that they're able to bring us something new to the table. Even for certain games, I like to able to know what's going to be coming up. But either way, though, let me know in the comments. So, anyways, let's go ahead and ground pound to this blue coin switch, so that way we could grab 6 of these, even though that pretty much gonna leads me to 30. So, even then, though, thankfully, we did manage to get the last red coin, and oh crap, hold on a second. Ah, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. I have to grab the Wii U gamepad charger, so that way I need to able to charge my gamepad, because it's kind of a shame that usually for the Wii U gamepad only lasted for about 2 hours of battery life, which does manage to suck. But either way, though, which to be expected, because that's the reason why the Wii U doesn't sell very well. So anyway, so now we go with the 100 coin Power Star mission, which is pretty easy, all things considered, if you manage to able to use Luigi especially. So, and oh boy, whenever we get onto the forms of, almost nearly at the end of the game, to be more specifically Rainbow Ride, oh boy, that will be an entirely different beast altogether. Mainly with like how the fact that it can be frustrating at times, mainly due to the fact that there's going to be a lot of emphasis on bottomless pits every once in a while. So, but either way though, I just want to able to point it out whenever we get into the future portions throughout. So, and also another thing I should want to point things out as well, that you notice about the fact that I've already told you guys before that I've recently managed to get myself Ape Escape P, which is basically the remake of Ape Escape from the PlayStation 1. Or to be more specifically, whenever you guys manage to purchase that game or purchase that remake, usually calls it Ape Escape on the Loose, which is, you know, basically the same thing, so, but with a different title. And it turns out I actually realized is the fact that I somehow managed to got 2 games all in one, which it appears to be by the forms of not only Ape Escape P, which is of course a remake of the original game, but unfortunately though it doesn't add that much new in there, aside from different voice actors, which it might be a bit skeptical at first for most Ape Escape fans out there, but regardless of everything else though, I can assure to that. So, but at least I can able to be excited able to play Ape Escape on the go, but just in the forms of the lack of the right analog control, which it kind of feels like a similar thing for how it does it when the 3DS doesn't usually have the right analog stick at first, but it wasn't until when in 2014 came around that usually the new 3DS managed to able to exist and able to introduce into you know, the second analog stick, or to be more specifically a C-stick. But either way though, and this also same applies in Journey forms of 2012, that basically that we got ourselves the PlayStation Vita, which does able to have 2 analog controls. So yeah, something's worth noting for. So because of that though, I might be fine with it, because it's especially noticeable how the fact that usually I'm always going to be keeping an eye on the forms of some new franchises I would love to able to actually just to play on my own time. To be more specifically, as I said earlier, the Ape Escape series, and eventually in the future I will try to able to get the Professor Layton stuff. But if I didn't get my hands on the Professor Layton games on the DS though, I might try to able to pick up something else. But either way though, we'll have to see what happens here in Journey forms of sometime in the future in 2021 for sure. But I digress. But I somehow managed to get myself Ape Academy for the PSP, I have no idea why when I managed to get that, but it usually gives me that for free. And unfortunately though, I was a bit disappointed by that. Although I'll get to more in a second, because the next mission we have is Through the Jet Stream, the sequel to the ones in the forms of, well, Jolly Roger Bay. Except the notable difference now is the fact that now we need to go through rings, and if you manage to go through the rings, then if you think you're about to be able to obtain the Power Star, well, you do need to acquire Wario, just like in the forms of how it does it on the other mission that I've already done, which is Koopa Surfing Switch Star. And once you're able to actually just to realize, because obviously Wario, he's the only one managed to able to transform into its metal self. So yeah, that begs the question about the fact that how come we're about to be able to go through rings as to like, well, it's kind of the same thing as the original, that's for sure. So yeah, I digress. So yeah, basically you have to go through rings. The annoying thing about this is that, especially on the remake, I swear to god, the actual hit detection, whenever you're trying to go through rings, is almost impossible to go through them. Which, it's kind of easy in the N64 version, but unfortunately though, or same applies to the Switch version as the Shindu edition. But unfortunately though, for me though, I have really terrible luck when it comes to going through rings in the DS remake. But if you're trying to angle yourself, if you're trying to able to swim like very cautiously, like I just did right there, then you should able to actually bypass through 5 rings, and if you've done that already, the Power Star show up. But again, it does need Wario in case if you do need able to go for the actual jet stream. Just like in the forms of how it does in the forms of, you know, Jolly Roger Bay, pretty much. So because of that though, yeah, just gonna have to able to actually just to get the Wario cap. And before you grab the Wario cap, best be sure you need to able to grab, you know, just obtain more air. So just in case you don't drown and die. So just in case you don't able to get kicked out of the level. So, yeah, that makes it seems pretty obvious. Which, you know, kind of does the exact same treatment from the likes of Super Mario Sunshine, except in Galaxy and Galaxy 2 and Super Mario 3D Land, 3D World, and Super Mario Odyssey, that you would be able to actually just, well, don't get kicked out of the actual level, or the mission rather, so, but I digress. So anyways, let's go and get, grab the Power Flower for Wario, and we should be able to go for the jet stream, as to be expected, so... And yeah, since we already did done the forms of, well, the 100 coin Power Star mission, it's a good thing I did not get sucked up by the forms of that specific, hole over there, that, the one that on the left I've, shown you guys about this, because I'm almost gonna get blown back. But, either way though, that's only because, you know. Mission 6, Inside the Cage, and in this mission we need to acquire Luigi on this mission, because obviously the Power Star is going to be trapped inside the cage, and also we need to acquire a Power Flower for Luigi, because he can able to turn invincible, so he can able to actually go through the cage itself, so... yeah, that's how it goes basically, so yeah, yeah, what if I managed to able to obtain Ape Academy for free? For what I've seen, the actual footage, and even especially noticeable with the actual reviews of that game, Ape Academy, which it kind of feels like some sort of like a party game or something on the PlayStation Portable, and it's pretty bad. It is really bad. Especially noticeable because even then though, that I wasn't really like fond of the forms of some shufflewares every now and then. But at least I'm fun with certain party games, mainly with like, obviously the Mario Party series, the ones on the you know, the Hudson Soft era, and as well as the ND Cube Mario Party titles. Well, despite that most people find that to be not a big fan of the ND Cube Mario Party developer games, and especially noticeable because either way though, because of the car mechanic they're able to introduce in Mario Party 9 and Mario Party 10. But I don't mind it, but it's just the fact that I just never wish if that concept's never gonna come back. But I digress. But anyways, let's move on to the last mission in terms of Dire Ducks, and that is Mission 7, the Manta Ray's Reward. And how do we able to do this? Once again, we need to go through rings, basically. I mean, what is this, like Superman 64 all over again? Well, except the fact that rather than just you know, do that all the time, so at least we can able to do it underwater somehow. So, once again, we do need to bypass through 5 rings, and, yeah, that's pretty much how that goes for this mission. But again, I have the same issue I had with the forms of Through the Jet Stream mission, because I swear the hit detection when it comes to going through rings is almost impossible for me though. But if you get the good angle for that specific swimming movement, then you would able to accomplish it. So, it is a tricky part. We need to obtain a power star right above the actual whirlpool, because if you somehow miss that chance, then you're gonna have to start all over again for the mission. So, there we go. That pretty much wraps it up in terms of Dire Docks. And it looks like we only got about 6 more courses to go, as well as the forms of some of the other secret power stars we actually got left. So because of that though, yeah, we're actually getting pretty close towards the end of this particular game. And I'm very glad that I'm actually going to be doing this game again, just in case of how the fact that, although the quality itself is very similar to the last version of it, despite the fact that it's no longer in our channel anymore, but at least the actual sound mixing is actually a lot better. So yeah, I just want to classify that. So I did manage to able to actually sell Ape Academy, just because, well, again, it's just the fact that it's just a bit meh. But at least I was able to actually keep some party games on my own time, such as, of course, the Mario Party games, ranging from Hudson Soft era, as well as the forms of the ND Cube series of Mario Party games. Well, despite the actual gameplay styles is remarkably different, but at least I can able to enjoy those sometime. And, also, I can able to keep Sonic Shuffle, because it's like a Mario Party ripoff, but in a Sonic the Hedgehog skin, because apparently the Hudson Soft actually developed Sonic Shuffle, which, don't believe me? Look it up on Wikipedia, and you'll see for yourself. And, also Wii Party, the original and the ones on the Wii U, just for a nice little distraction. And PacMan Party, because obviously we have got PacMan Party game on our country. Although technically this wasn't the first ever PacMan Party game. That honor goes to PacMan Fever, which I'm presuming that that game only exists in North America, which I have no idea why they never get it to its release in our country, mind you. Well, I have no idea, just because, well, I heard of it, and it plays very similar to Mario Party, but except the fact that we're going to the linear board, just like in Mario Party 9 and Mario Party 10, and even Mario Party Island Tour. Well, it feels kind of similar to Mario Party Island Tour, except, well, rather than just releasing on the 3DS, it was actually released on the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 version. Now, from what I've heard, that the GameCube version, that it might be alright for the GameCube version, but on the PlayStation 2 version, as far as I've noticed on the actual disc, is actually a compact disc, which, it's nothing like the DVD one though, so yeah, something's worth noting for. Alright, so let's head back onto Goon Boss Battle kind of environment stage, and because of that, we're going to be tackling through another 2 missions, which one of them is actually the Switch Start, as you know. And also the usual 8 red coins, because obviously we've already managed to tackle through everything in terms of the Big Boo course, as well as Chief Chili course. So I'm guessing this might be the only ones left. So because of that though, because normally in the beginning we didn't do that much though, just because obviously we haven't unlocked the rest of the characters, specifically Mario, Luigi, and Wario of all things. So just because of this though, we're able to actually just to save that for last, because obviously we do need to able to actually get the rest of the characters first, so yeah, that's how it goes basically. So either way though, let's just go ahead and fly all the way up to the top here, so just in case we can able to get another red coin. So yeah, that seems totally obvious for the sake of time. Okay, something's worth mentioning for this point as well, that tomorrow, that you know the episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic called Green Isn't Your Color? That episode will become a decade old tomorrow, so geez, I can't even believe time does manage to fly, doesn't it? Especially noticeable how that show was a huge success compared to the forms of the previous generations. Now, I do definitely heard that the Generation 5 is on its way at this point, and from what I've seen the actual footage, I was a bit slightly skeptical about this, mainly due to the fact that maybe it's because I'm used to with well, the previous main 6 characters, basically, like the likable ones, just because, well, I just can't really tell if I'm able to actually give my opinions about the new looks on Generation 5, even with the forms of the second film potentially as well. So, but either way though, that's one I'm able to notice with that specific opinions about this. Although, I don't mind it, but it's just that maybe it's because I'm used to with the Friendship is Magic one a bit more, just because of the actual art style is so good. But that's just me. And as you can see, I'm almost gonna screw up right there, mainly because I almost gonna be predicting for the leaps of faith, but turns out I was safe. So because of that though, again, if you mess it up at all times, then you're gonna have to do the entire collectathon of those red coins all over again, so that won't be that fun. But it's a good thing I did manage to get rid of the Mario's cap from now on, because now we need a Luigi's cap on for the likes of the next red coin. So, yeah, that pretty much sums it up for the sake of the actual red coin challenge in this this particular level. So, yeah, that's all I can say. Speaking of the forms of other things I'd like to mention, still haven't heard any single word from the likes of CapKing74 anywhere, although the last time he still managed to upload is actually by the forms of Pikmin 3 Deluxe announcement trailer with no sound whatsoever, and as far as I'm aware, that we haven't seen him since. Like, he hasn't gotten a single upload video for the sake of this year so far, although mind you, he doesn't have that much subscribers, unlike me, probably because of how the fact that with the actual, you know, just pretty good at when it comes to, like, knowing things, and also same applies to the, well, just the capture footage, basically. So because of that, though, we can expect this much. Alright, so the last red coin is actually in this black, brick block right there. And of course, we do need Wario to be able to smash it. So if you've done that, then you were able to obtain the 8th and the final red coin, and the power stars should show up, during the forms of that specific log. So, yeah, it's not too bad though, but sometimes it can be a bit tricky at times, especially noticeable because usually, relatively speaking, is the fact that, well, if you're trying to play as Wario, good luck with that, because otherwise you're probably gonna get a lot of lives drained very quickly. But regardless of everything else though, I did manage to done this on the first try, so yeah, top notch that will be. So anyways, we got 22 secret power stars, and I think we've only got 8 more to go in terms of, you know, the castle secret stars. And as a matter of fact though, it's the fact that we are pretty much done. Although before we get into the actual, the second floor, we need to switch to Yoshi to Wario, just in case that, you know, with the fact that we actually did manage to drain the actual water that we actually did done with Luigi, well, turns out that we need able to actually go into the outside portion of Princess Peach's castle, and if we manage to, like, drop down from here, and you notice there's actually a black brick block over there. Normally in the original game, all you have to do is just basically you're gonna have to hop into this hole over down there, and basically this will lead us to some sort of like a vanished cap course. But in here, you always need to play as Wario in order to able to actually just to go into this particular stage. So, and obviously since that we actually still gonna be able to collect all 8 red coins as per usual, and of course that there was actually that secret area that we can able to go to. However though, there was actually a Mario cap in there somewhere, so we're able to grab that first. So even though I somehow managed to mess up in terms of the forms of those red coins I was about to be hoping trying to get, but I will be back for that once we're able to go for the other mission first. So because of that though, yeah, Mario is the only one needs to be required for the sake of the forms of, well, I would say the Switch Star mission. So yeah, it's not too noticeable and not too difficult either, so but either way though, it's gonna have to quickly adjust the camera angle, which trying to adjust the camera angle on this particular part can be a bit fickle at times, but hopefully we'll try our best if we're able to try to sort things out. So anyway, let's activate this. Thankfully you've got plenty of time until you're able to actually make your way there. However, the only trickiest part about this mission for me though is a very awkward camera angle sometimes, like these ones right here. But as long as you know what you're doing, you will be okay. And also, you need to be super fast at it. So, either way though, let's see if we could able to get ourselves a good angle jumps here and there for able to, well, not so much for jumping, but to be more specifically, obtaining the actual power flower in a really, really good angle. But regardless of everything else for this point though, we've managed to accomplish it. So, yeah, awesome sauce. And of course, we need to head back inside there again, just in case if we need to go for the red coin mission. And once we're done with that, then we're pretty much done in terms of the forms of, well, basically for the first floor of everything, for the sake of Princess Peach's castle for sure. But anyways though, so yeah, looks like we're almost at the 100 star mark, which even then, I think we only got about 5 more power stars left until we reach for about 100, so yeah, that's how I usually think about it. So anyway, so let's go ahead and do a big long jump for the sake of the some segments here, and yeah, that pretty much sums it up from here. And what I'm gonna do is the fact that in terms of the next few missions I was able to actually focus on, eventually I might able to actually go for Yoshi for the majority of the time, just because when you're able to actually save all 3 characters, both Mario, Luigi, and Wario, then you do realize is the fact that they're able to actually give you a nice little special alteration if you're about to be going to the next few missions up ahead. To be more specifically, whenever we get onto floor 2 and stuff like that. So, of course, this section can be a bit tricky, but regardless of everything else though, when you're trying to able to solve this no problem, then you would be able to be okay with this. Even especially noticeable, you really can't afford to able to actually just to fall off in the sake of that specific time. So anyways, and I did not meant to activate that, but there's a Luigi cap right there, so just in case we can able to go through the actual cage, so that just in case we're able to obtain the power star as to be expected. So there we go. I think we might as well do 4 more missions at this point, but yeah, as you can see, I've got about 96 power stars, which is almost like a reference to when the original Super Mario 64 first came out in 1996 in, well, from the Nintendo 64, along the same year as when the first ever Crash Bandicoot game on the PlayStation also came out on the same year as well. So, yeah. God knows if the forms of some of these 3D games might able to have some rivalry back then. Well, I have no idea what I'm really saying for this point right now, but anyway. Alright, so now we're done with that, and now we'll switch over to Yoshi for the majority of the time, and because of that though, we can able to actually just be focusing on the next few missions. So thankfully I don't have to constantly need to switch between Mario, Luigi, or Wario throughout in some of these, well, excuse me, some segments throughout. Do apologize for that belginess, I'm afraid, just because, again, chili dogs may able to fill me up. But anyway, though, so let's go in here again and, well, hop onto this little wall over there. And this leads us to Course 10, Snowman's Land. And the first mission we have is Snowman's Big Head. For this mission, I might as well go for, well, the Luigi's cap, because as you can see, we can now able to actually choose whatever which hat we want to go for. So because of that though, thankfully I don't need to constantly need to able to switch between characters on the move, well, to be more specifically, while walking on foot all the time. Well, for some exceptions, mind you, which we'll point it out whenever we get into the forms of the ending portion of this Let's Play. So because of that though, yeah, the first mission is pretty self-explanatory, and son of a biscuit. Yeah, anyway, the first mission in this world basically is self-explanatory. It's gonna have to make your way to the top of the forms of Snowman's Head, and that's pretty much how that goes. However though, unlike the forms of the original Super Mario 64, that the only method you can only bypass for this little, blowing, you know, snowman, that basically you can either just walk behind, the penguin, or you can able to go on top of the penguin's head. But, if you use Luigi's backflip twirling ability, basically you can able to skip a good chunks of portions of this particular section. So, even then, it's definitely way more easier than the original, that's for sure. But anyway, now we're done with that, and, well, suffice to say that we're now on to, well, 97 stars. And it's a good thing we're going to be using Yoshi for the majority of this world, just because there was actually that one mission, we'll discuss on that later, because the second mission we have is Chill with the Bully. And let's go for Mario for this one, just in case of, you know, his fighting skills is actually way more balanced. Even though originally I was going to go for Wario, but we'll save that up until we get at a later portion of the game. So, yeah, basically just knock him out, and that's all you have to do here. But here's the thing though, we need to watch out for those ice physics every once in a while, so get used to it. Especially noticeable with that freezing water that you have to avoid, so just in case you will be safe. So there we go. Alright, onwards to the third mission, where basically the third mission we have is Yoshi's Ice Sculpture. And this mission is actually the replacement mission ever since, well, you know in the forms of the original game that basically you get out to make your way for the actual ice sculpture maze in the original version of the game? Well, it's been replaced in the DS remake just because, as you can tell, I managed to obtain the power flower with Yoshi. And what Yoshi's power will usually consist of? Well, the forms of fire breathing. So because of that though, he can able to actually defeat enemies with the flamethrower, or he can able to melt ice, as you can see on screen. However though, I rarely used it most of the time, just because I only use it for one mission, which is this mission only, so yeah, it's not too bad. It's actually kind of quick at the same time, so yeah, awesome sauce. And I think I might as well do one more mission for the sake of time, so here we go on to mission 4. Well, from the freezing pond. And for this mission, let's go for, yeah, I might as well go for Luigi again. So just in case, that's, you know, the actual backflip twirling ability for Luigi was actually, like, kind of broken, honestly. But either way, though, that it knows what it is when it comes to speed running and stuff like that, which I always sometimes do, but most of the time, sometimes I'm not very good at speed running techniques and all that stuff. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and do this, and, well, we're just gonna have to hit the ones on the left block over there, well, despite the fact I clearly missed it, but if you try to grab hands, then I can instantly grab the power star like so. And we reached 100 power stars, so I think we've got about 50 power stars to go. So yeah, we're actually getting pretty close. And suffice to say, we're pretty much gonna have to end things off at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario 64 DS. It's that we're gonna be still continue things on in Snowman's Land, and eventually we'll move on to the next world, which is Wet Dry World. So I'll see you guys on Friday. Later, fellas.